Previously on Project IGI. There once was a Russian named Ek. Her country just got no respect. Off to a good start. She came up with a plan to stick it to the man. This is a limerick, not Brecht. So she tracked down a nuke she could buy. Zach Breeboy was the name of the guy. He would steal it from Yanks, trade for money to his banks, then she would make a lot of people die. The heist went according to plan. Jack fled with the nuke in a van, but before he could sell, nephew Joseph, damn him to hell, got caught on the phone by the man. By selling the nuke for himself, Joseph dreamt of inordinate wealth, but his uncle found out and with his hammer and a shout did set out to damage his health. It is here in our tale we meet Jones, drafted in by a Yank on the phone. Told the mission was tough, that Estonia was rough, and they needed a man with some stones. Sadly, Jones was the closest stealth guy, so off in the chopper he'd fly. Here we picked up the hat of this stupid smug twat, and began to play Project IGI. Both pre-boys and we are now bros. We followed Ek and kept her on her toes. Now she's forced to attack, so put your feet up and why don't you sit back and join me as the tale comes to a close.
Jones, our top priority is to find that bomb. When you do, secure the area until I arrive. I'll take responsibility for defusing the device.
You will?
David, you're immensely practical, but it takes more than a field knife and a machine shop 101. A girl doesn't sweat through 3 years of electronics and nuclear physics for nothing.
Hey, fine.
If you see Ek...
Don't worry. I just need one clean shot.
I've access to the security records. Here's how Ek got in here. She waited until the weekend staff changed, then her guards came in disguised as support staff. They took control of the security and ventilation system, either locking out or gassing any opposition. I'm deactivating Ek's security access, but it'll take time.
Anya, anything else active?
Jesus. Sorry, David. Security guns are currently active. They'll be down soon. Be careful. Her men could be anywhere. Remember, find the bomb, secure the area until I arrive. Kill Ek if you see her.
Hello there, and welcome back to the final episode of Project IGI. Anya's just going to reiterate what she already told us in the cutscene, so we'll just take a look at the weapons we've got. Got a Glock 17, lovely MP5, and yes dear, I promise to be careful. I think I can handle some grumpy Russian bint. We've also got a Dragunov, which is odd for an indoor level, and we've got, and a well-packed syringe. Something tells me we're going to need that. But before we actually make any real progress, I'm just going to step out here and take out this guy. On your first playthrough, this is some guy you'll probably not even notice. However, if you give him the chance, he'll start firing at you. But worst of all, he'll actually start throwing grenades at you as well, which is a little disconcerting if he hasn't shot at you yet and you're wondering why everything's blowing up around you. So, where the hell are we? We appear to be in some gigantic, I don't know, entrance storage room? It's hard to say. Got a big door here. Apparently we came from this, which doesn't make sense if you follow on from the cutscene. Got another big door over there, and over on this side we've got what it says is the exit, but that's bullshit. The exit is back that way, which is where we came from. This actually leads us much further into the level. Not that it really matters at the moment, because we can't open the door, and we need to find a way to, as Anya says, hack a terminal and open it. So how do we do that? Well, for a start, the map's no fucking use. Well, we need to go up to that windowed area above that other door. Taking a trundle over, we see there's nothing here, at least there appears to be no way to get up. Let's have a little bit of a further look around. Not far away on the fourth wall we've got another door. which appears to contain a gun, 3 bullets and 2 grenades. Just what the doctor ordered. And since the sign is a piece of world geometry, we can do a little bit of weird stuff with it. Bit of bouncing around here, and we can pop ourselves through the wall. Another thing we can do if we come at it from another angle is we can clip through the wall this way. You may have noticed that there's a void between the 2 walls. Let's try that again. Ah, there we go, we are falling through the void. Fantastic. So, what do we have in this room? We've got a bunch of crates and what appears to be a gigantic ammo storage. Got some ammo, a bunch of grenades, and an M16. Along with some grenades for that. Oh, and a law. That's quite a little bounty. I like that they didn't give it to you all straight away. And oh, just one moment. There we go. Right, where was I? Yes, even though they split up the collection of the weapons into the... Hold on. Okay, that's him. And the... Oh, and here's another one of the level's dirty tricks. We've got plenty of guys who are hiding just around the corners from us. Anyway, yes, what was I saying? Yeah, even though they took the weapons and that second batch of weapons and put it in the armory, it's nice that they split it up like that and didn't just give you all the weapons straight away. And you'll find that throughout the rest of the level. You'll find all of the weapons that you found in all of the other levels, just get them a little bit more spaced out, and it's a bit more interesting that way. When the lift gets to the top floor, we can move out, or we can just wait for the enemy to come to us. Happens once in a while. But we're very proactive people, so we're going to go and kill them ourselves. Let's go. You may have noticed me dancing around a little bit in the lift. That's because it's kind of sticky as you walk around on it. We'll have more of that later. Oh, shit. This upper room is split up into 2 sections. We're mucking about in the rear part here. We've got a bunch of consoles and crates we can climb up on top of. And what sounds like a dot matrix printer in there as well. Out around the front is where all the business is. A big window there that looks out into the starting area, and a guy down at the far end. We take a look at him and don't alert him. He's got his own little animation. He's chatting away to himself. What a tripper. No, it looks like he's very unhappy with himself. Oh boy. This front section is just filled with tables and computers, desk over there, and out the window you can see the catwalk where we saw the first guy of the level. This is generally where he'll see you and start shooting at you. Stop there! Around the corner we've got some more guys, one of which has some very itchy balls. Some very itchy, smelly balls. Ugh. You may have picked up that the enemies are significantly more accurate these days. It's better to be safe than sorry. We've got a terminal there we can use, but before we do that we'll nip around here to this kind of cafe seated area. On the other side of this wall are the crates, so we could have jumped over onto this side and then come at those guys from behind. And here's something I find interesting. After you land from a jump, the camera does a little bob. So when you jump, land, and use the computer immediately afterwards, it still bobs, and it looks a bit weird. Door open! Huzzah! Take a look out the window. The door's directly opposite us. We can't jump out the window, unfortunately. There's a big invisible block in the way. Just as an example of what happens if we leave the guy on the catwalk. You can see how much damage he can cause us. And then it becomes a case of playing snipe the foot. Door is all the way over there, so we best get moving. This particular video is made up of several different runs spliced together. Here's the first one. Once we get inside the lift, and usually at this point you'll just hit the button and head straight down, but we're not going to do that. Anya will tell us that apparently she's detected an APC coming down the elevator. It seems that the elevator is actually that huge door that we spawn beside. If you listen closely, you can actually hear the APC moving as well. gets into a position in the middle of the room. We'll take a look at that more closely now. Don't worry, it's perfectly safe. The APC can't shoot us from up here. Over to the left is the elevator that came down on, apparently. Well, let's make our way down. We'll speed that up just because it takes so goddamn long. Get back into the armory room, and as soon as we open the door and step through, we've got a surprise. It's Ek! Quick! Oh shit. Now we have to kill all these guys. Bollocks! What the fuck was that? Getting through that door can be pretty stressful, as you can probably tell. The most important thing for the moment is to take care of the APC. You know, it really is lucky that we happen to have a law at hand. It must really suck to try and get past this without a rocket launcher. Here's one attempt, trying to go to the right. We end up having this container kind of in the way. It makes it pretty difficult to scrape around. If we go off to the left hand side, pretty much the same thing, except we've got a much longer distance to cover. But this final dash across behind the APC is probably the most difficult part, for obvious reasons. From the doorway to the armory, we can kind of squeeze up the middle here. It leads out to the right hand side again, but a little bit closer to these crates so we can nip up behind them. So it is perfectly possible to bypass the APC, but obviously having the law makes things a lot easier. With the APC out of the way, there's not really all that much to, well, look at. Nothing's really changed, it's just spawned a couple of extra guys. And those guys spawned whenever we got down to the armory door. Still got another straggler here left to take out, let's get him. And another thing to point out that I hadn't seen in any of the other levels, and had to actually try and trick the AI into doing this and see if it actually happened. If the enemies drop to the ground and they're facing you, they will fire at you. And not only that, they'll do some sort of weird twirly thing and follow you around. Off we go! I really hope you like corridors. So Anya chimes in to give us some information. She's guessing that X planted the bomb in the electricity generating room, and that's quite a distance away. To get there we have to go through the office and then the sleeping quarters, but there's quite a gap between those two areas with some other stuff in between. This door appears to be sealed closed or something, we can't get through, so let's head back. And now that we've seen this little area, it gives us a chance to just take a step back and show what happens if you try and chase X when you see her after you come out of the armory room. Obviously our first concern is that there's a million people in the way and we'll probably die trying to get anything done. As I'd said before, the bad guys in the room spawn whenever we approach the armory door, so if we walk up to it and then run all the way back upstairs, we can then take everyone out from a safe distance. We'll just rocket launcher the APC and then take out the guys hanging around here at our leisure. And then speed all the way back down. I'd spoken earlier about the lift being a bit weird and kind of sticking you whenever it's moving. You can't jump whenever it's moving vertically, so if you can't move horizontally, then what's happening to the lift? If we peek through the crack in the door, you can see that the lift is in fact moving horizontally. It's very strange. That would explain why it's an enclosed lift and why they go to such pains to stop you from seeing outside of it. With everyone mostly dead, we can now give chase. See, the door opens for her and we can sneak in behind it. She runs off and then off to the right and through the door and disappears. What a jerk. Anyway, we're off into the next area of the map, and this is the office area. Not really much of an area, so much as a long corridor with little offices off at the side. You may have noticed that there was a turret in the ceiling. That's not good news. Oh, what was... I know that sound. Trying to be tricky. Obviously, if we set off the alarm, the turrets get activated. We don't want to be doing that. Corridor continues down here. We've also got an offshoot little part that leads to... Oh, I'm too smart for you this time. Yes, what appears to be a cafeteria. There's placemats and salt and pepper shakers. Those are picnic tables. And off in the back we've got a kitchen. And what really amazes me is that they actually created textures and all the like for the actual cookers themselves. This is unique stuff that they made just for this one room. Now, I don't want to say that it's a complete waste of time, but it's a complete waste of time. You don't need to come in here. There's nothing to pick up. It's just, hey, why don't we put in a cafeteria? That'll be cool. Right, now what? Oh yeah, let's get on with actually making the rest of the level. The door straight ahead is the way out of the office area, but we're not going to go that way yet. Check out the rest of these rooms, and these actually have things to pick up. In this one we've got a couple of flashbangs. Probably never even use those. But the biggest prize of all is in this room. We've got a jackhammer. Now we're in for some fun times. Doesn't really make it any easier, but at least it means you got a good fighting chance. So that's it. We're all done with the offices. That was fairly uneventful, and you can actually get through this pretty quickly. You don't even need to worry about the cameras, because if you just walk along at normal, or well, run along at normal speed, you'll get through with no problems. You don't remain in any particular area long enough to set any alarms or anything off. It would have been better if they put a camera pointing at the door leading out of the area, but well, they didn't. Coming up here is a nasty trick. See if we can figure out what it was. Sentry guns are active. Oh dear. Yep, there's a fucking camera in the ceiling. As soon as you kill any of those guys, it automatically sets off the alarm. Here you can see that the camera does indeed fixate on dead bodies, no matter how long they've been there. Once we look away and the body itself has actually disappeared, then the camera can go about its normal business again. We can open the door and shoot the camera, but that means that we've got two guys shooting at it. But we can do this instead. We can preempt the whole thing, just chuck a grenade at the door and then blow up the camera from the other side of it. So you get some nice screams from the guys inside. With that done, we're free to open the door and then take out those two. Another little thing to point out is that the door to this room isn't correctly set. You can see it just sticking out through the wall there. So anyway, this room appears to be a checkpoint of some kind, and we've got ourselves some equipment over here. We've got some proximity mines we can grab. There's 5 rifle grenades to go with that. And another 50 units of health. And so soon. And trust me, whenever you're first playing through this level, you'll need every last unit. And as a little reminder that the sentry guns are still active, take a trip back here into the office area again to the first turret we saw. And yep, it's certainly active. We're not going to be running out in front of it. Luckily, we've got something we can do about that. Back to the checkpoint room, we've got a terminal. Now this will disable the turrets for a short period of time, but we're not going to do that just yet. I'm going to run down here, and this time we're going to take the right fork. Takes us along a pretty lengthy corridor. Going upwards. Speed up through all of that to this door. That's open. We've got ourselves a very large room and a turret in the ceiling. So we're not going that way. Anya says that, yep, the turrets are active and that maybe we should find a terminal so we can reprogram them. And if we were to walk straight on in, as you would do at your very first time playing the level, you get absolutely obliterated. So let's make our way back to the checkpoint room and we can make use of that terminal. Let's take care of this guy while we're here. Now the terminal itself isn't the one that Anya's talking about. This one only disables the turrets for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Gives us enough time to find another terminal and do what we need to do. And back up we go. And we can get a better look at the room. It's got 4 floors in total. It's probably the biggest room in this game. And we've also got some guys spawning over here. Now the thing about these guys is once they start spawning, they don't stop. For a very, very long time. This room has 2 guys, well, 1 guy wandering about and another guy just kind of standing static. That's the wandering guy we saw down there. Enemies spawn in from a few different doors, namely this one at the top and the one directly below, but we'll come to that later on. Having a look inside this little area, there's nothing really special about it. It's blocked off at one end and there's nothing inside to pick up. But eventually, on a set timer, some guys will spawn. And they'll keep doing that. However, if you stay inside the room, then nothing will happen. Here I'm standing for a good 30 to 40 seconds, just looking around and nothing's going on at all. It isn't until I actually leave the room itself and the door closes that they appear. So, how long can something like that go on for? Well, why don't we keep a count? And that is all of them. 28 goddamn soldiers. That is a lot of AKs. Let's make our way down to the next floor below us. Luckily enough, we've got a ladder here we can make use of. And, ow. Ow. Where the fuck is that guy? Oh, whoa, whoa. Handily enough, it's actually taking us to where we need to be. Inside this room is 2 guys and the terminal we need to hack to reset the turrets. Fortunately, if we get too close to the window we get shot at, so we best heal up first. And here we go. Only just. Such a jammy sword. Now that that's happened, the turrets have been switched back on and they're now shooting at the bad guys. We can quite happily walk out there if we wanted and we wouldn't get shot. Well, having said that, the guys still keep on spawning through the doors and there is a couple of seconds before the turrets can actually turn an aim at them, and during that time we can get shot and killed. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to avoid the top floor entirely because we don't actually need to go there. In fact, I had completed this game entirely and not even realised that that turret reconfiguration room was there. What we do is just get onto this second floor, not going upstairs, just taking the bottom route, down the ladder and then around this big generating thingamy. And 1 guy over here that I mentioned before, just take him out. Some sort of radioactive container, doesn't seem particularly safe. Pop open the door and off we go. I still have no idea what that room is meant to be. It's not the electricity generating room which Anya was talking about. That's something we'll see a little bit later on. But anyway, we're now heading towards the sleeping quarters. That'll be in a little bit. But first we've got another fork in the road. We're going to take the right hand one this time, and we're going to overhear a little bit of a conversation. Oh dear, if only he kept his mouth shut, we would have walked straight into the trap. Kind of like this. Oh shit, that's gonna complicate things quite a bit. Here's a run through where I clear out the room. I've already fired a grenade in and killed a few of them in the first shot, but there's still some stragglers at the back. At least gives me the opportunity to run into the room and then be able to take them out from there. Once they're all mopped up, we can see that it's the same as the room that led to the helicopter one in the castle. And it also has dual Uzis, which of course we will not be using. In this little alcove next to the radioactive stuff is a potted plant. And because this is the same room which had the glitch before, it has the same glitch again. But we're not going to see anything there because it shows off stuff we don't want to see yet. And finally for this room, in the corner, we've got a medical syringe, which gives us a nice healthy boost of 3 health units. 3. Feel like I just picked up someone's heroin syringe. And on the other side of the room, we've got a bathroom. Oh, you guys having fun? Yeah. Okay, that was interesting. Okay, this time we're going to take the left fork. This one isn't particularly interesting. All it really does is give us a giant loop to get us around the other side of the room with the ambush. Not really much more to it than that. We've got some other rooms we can look at. In here is an office-y sort of area. Further on down, oh, got a camera. Scoot under that and we'll nip in here and we'll find the sleeping quarters. Well, if you want to call it that. There's a guy patrolling back and forwards outside. If we set off the alarm, some guys will spawn in the office room, which we saw just moments before. A couple of them, but they'll keep spawning. It's similar to the room at the top of the large room we were just in, but significantly fewer guys spawn. The corridors look the same, so if you're a bit confused, we're heading back and we're going towards the office again. See that it is indeed empty once more. Okay, this time if we take the right, it'll lead us back to the rear entrance to that ambush place and the bathroom. The guys there are watching us now. It's quite obvious that the reason they were looking at the wall last time was just because they were attracted to the gunfire sounds and pointed in that direction. They modelled toilet rolls. Once again, they modelled toilet rolls. And a little bit of a tip here. Going into the rear door of the ambush room is just as dangerous. So anyway, we are now done with the sleeping area. As fun as that was. Make our way through this twisty bit of corridor to this door, which we can't open normally. We have to hit this switch. And when we do, something happens, so pay attention. It's fucking Egg. She says that we need to be faster. Fuck you! Fuck off! You fucking bitch. As the door closes behind us, some guys spawn in the corridor outside and they start flooding in to kick our ass. Oh yeah, not a lot of place to hide, so we have to be very careful. As with before, whenever the door closes, well, when the bodies disappear and it's actually able to close, it'll just spawn another pair of guys. Happens a couple of times. We can see that the lift itself has actually come back up and we can make our way out if we wanted to. We'll just stick around for a little bit longer. A little bit more looking away, trying to force the bodies to despawn. So it's time to start fiddling around with this. With Ek running away, your first instinct obviously is to chase after her, but if you just stick around, then things get pretty easy. If we're standing out here and the door closes, then the guys don't spawn. So all we have to do is wait here and nothing will happen. Well, that's kind of true. Go back far enough and the guys will spawn anyway. This is going to make things a little bit awkward. Something I normally do is to plant some proximity mines on the ground so that whenever they do spawn, they are automatically set off and we're actually okay. Of course, that only works for the first wave of them. And when we get to the second ones, we get into a bit more trouble. And of course, it's always nice that proximity mines don't even need line of sight to work. In the meantime, you'll find that you'll spend your time just hanging around at the door waiting for people to spawn and step through. And if you know that it's coming, it's not really that much of a surprise or a challenge either. It's really just a matter of time. The lift will always appear before all of the guys are finished spawning. For the sake of this, we'll just wait them out. And here's the easiest way to deal with the entire thing. Just go to the door, stand underneath so it can't close, and wait. And nothing at all will happen. You can use this time to heal up or reload or do all sorts of knitting or something, but eventually the lift will appear and you can leg it towards it and leave. And down the lift we go, and guess what? End of part 1!